Next up in our journey through Japanese tonkatsu is a dish that may not be as well known outside Japan, but in Japan it is absolutely one of the most popular ways to have tonkatsu. It's an all-in-one dish, a rice bowl called Katsudon. In Japanese, katsu is our cutlet, our deep fried pork cutlet. And don is the word for a donburi, a rice bowl. So this is essentially a pork cutlet that's cooked in kind of bound in an egg type sauce, almost you'd call, but it's been seasoned with a few of these things here on top of a bowl of rice. And the donburi, the rice bowl, is what it's all about. I'm not gonna go through all of this. We've been through that many times before. If you haven't seen how to make a proper good tonkatsu, please go and watch the other videos in this kind of series, not really a series, and see how we do all of this. So first things first, to get everything started, I'm gonna cook my rosu, my pork loin tonkatsu. The tonkatsu is cooked, time to put together the rest of the dish. The way it kind of is it's a bowl that's filled with rice. Then on top of the rice, you've got this mixture, and the mixture is made by simmering some onions in a seasoning liquid, which we'll make together. Put the tonkatsu on top of that, pour the egg over the whole lot, cover it just till the egg's very lightly set, and then that all goes on top of the rice. That's then served with a little bit of mitsuba. This is Japanese trefoil, just a very light, fragrant herb. You could easily substitute watercress or rocket, or snow pea shoots are actually a great substitute for mitsuba. And a little bit of sashimi togarashi, a Japanese 7 spice, to finish it off. So we get started first with the onion. I don't want to cut the onion too thin. About like this is good, maybe just under a centimetre, because you want pieces of onion in there. The tonkatsu is going to be kind of big and meaty, so if you have your onion too thin, it's just not really in balance. Some eggs too. Lightly beat those. And now for our seasoning liquid. Now, normally you would start this with dashi, you know, the Japanese stock. But if you don't have any dashi, you could easily use chicken stock or fish stock. If you didn't have either of those and you just wanted to use plain water, you could do that too. But I'm gonna show you a cheat. You won't find this in any textbooks on Japanese cooking, but it's a really good workaround if you don't have dashi on hand. Most people in Japan will have instant dashi, chicken stock cubes, whatever, chicken bouillon, if you want that. But if you really want a cheats version of dashi that's good for rough and tumble dishes like this, into about a cup of water, you can add a teaspoon of fish sauce, Thai or Vietnamese fish sauce. And before you start to kind of freak out about what's happening here, you actually get a result that is kind of similar to the taste of dashi. It really is just sort of an umami tasting water, which is all stock is, really. So just a teaspoon of fish sauce into a cup of water, and that is a cheats dashi. Into that, I'll add some other seasonings. Soy sauce, sake, mirin, and I've got some sugar as well, but I don't want to add that in to here, because if I add it into here, it's just going to soak to the bottom and I have to keep stirring it up. I can add that directly into the pan. It is intended to be mixed together with this, but because I haven't mixed it in beforehand, I'll add it into the frying pan. And the last thing I need before I move over to the stove is just to cut my tonkatsu. Once again, it's draining on the angle, so it's not going to be soggy at all, and you can see how crisp that is. And as another refresher, when you're cutting into it, you want to cut through the top layer of breading first and then fast into the rest of the tonkatsu. Bring all of this over to the stove. Now the thing to remember here is that this is not a fried dish. It has deep fried tonkatsu in there, but it's actually a steamed and simmered dish. So we're gonna simmer the onions in that sauce and then steam the tonkatsu together with the egg. Now you might be saying, why would I go and make this beautiful crispy tonkatsu just to then soften the outside of it by steaming it? Well, that's what Japanese cuisine does. There are lots of different textures in Japanese food, and so actually frying something and then putting it into a liquid so that it softens and becomes almost a little bit necho necho, you would say in Japanese. It's almost slimy but moist on the outside, is quite a desirable texture in Japanese cuisine. It's not too slimy, but the breading actually absorbs so much of the flavor from the sauce that we've made and from the egg as well. It's a lovely, lovely dish. So I'll start just with the onions and our seasoning sauce into the pan. I'll bring that to a simmer. Once the onions are softened, I'll take the tonkatsu and lay that into the liquid. Over the top with the beaten eggs. And I'll put the lid on to simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes. While that's steaming and simmering, I'll throw the rice into the bowl, because as soon as the eggs are just a little bit set, it's time to take it straight out. Okay, here we go. The entire contents of the pan sliding on top of the bowl in one motion. A few sprigs of mitsuba, a sprinkling of shichimi togarashi, Japanese 7 spice, and that is our katsudon.